beat where we walk.
Is fasting compulsory?
Is it? Is it general?
That's the question that can change the world.
Is fasting compulsory?
That's
a great question. I really appreciate the opportunity to answer this question. And I'd like to start by saying fasting should be compulsory. Right. How much you fast depends on your relationship with God. Not everyone can do the strictest fast, but if it's something that you, your confession father, and God agree upon, then that's what you should do.
Did you enjoy?
Especially during fasting. It's a good time to reflect and grow spiritually.
Okay. Hi Dimed, why do you think fasting is compulsory?
Yeah, it's beneficial.
Is fasting compulsory?
No, fasting is not compulsory. Everyone can choose to do as much of it as they like and to different extents, but it's an opportunity that we should take because it's a good way for us to go closer to God and build our spiritual life and build our self-control.
And if you like cut out chocolate from your diet, you know, you're giving that love instead of chocolate, you're giving it to God.
Is fasting compulsory? It's a very interesting question. So the first thing about fasting that you need to know is that nothing can be forced upon us. So nothing is compulsory in the Christian life. No one's going to get you in trouble. There's no concept of haram, that if you do something, you've broken a rule. But at the same token, fasting is in a sense necessity. It's a necessity. It's something that is necessary for our spiritual lives. And so if you look at, for example, Matthew 6, when Christ is talking to his disciples, he says to them, you know, when you fast, do this, go behind, make sure no one knows about it, anoint your head, etc. He doesn't say, look, if it comes to a point in time that you're sitting there and you're not gymming it and you're not training and, you know, you're not really in need of the protein, in that case, look, you might want to fast and this is what you want to do. He didn't say, look, if it happens to be, you know, a fast which isn't too tough and there's seafood and you can get your protein from that, that's fine. He didn't say, look, if you're sitting there and you're spiritually alight and you're hot and you're psyched for God and you're really interested and you're into it, at that point, you know what, you might consider fasting. He says, when you fast. So it's not a suggestion, it's a given, it's a fact that we will be fasting. And so we always need to remember that about fasting, that it's not a suggestion of the church, it's not something the church invented. It's something that has existed in the life of the church from the moment of Judaism, and it was confirmed by Christ himself that we would fast, and that fasting would be a necessary part of the spiritual life. Not as a aim, not as a goal, but as a means to something, as a means to preparing ourselves, as a means to regaining control of our bodies, as a means to limiting the desires of the flesh, limiting their satisfaction, and so opening ourselves up to the desires of God, opening ourselves up to the grace of God. And so in the church, when we do things, for example, the priest will often say that if you're not fasting, you can't come near Holy Communion unless you speak to your spiritual father. They're not saying that because it's a compulsory thing and it's something imposed on us from above. They're saying that for a very simple reason, that it is almost impossible to make any movement in the spiritual life without fasting. It's almost impossible. That's why in the fraction, the priest prays, with fasting and prayer allowed Moses to do this. Fasting and prayer allowed Daniel to be saved from the lion's den. Fasting and prayer allowed the disciples to baptize in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Fasting and prayer, when they come together, can become something very, very powerful for us in our spiritual lives. So let's not think about fasting as, you know, do I have to do it or do I not have to do it? Think about it. If I don't do it, what am I missing out on? What am I losing out on? What am I going to miss out on that Christ would have to say about it when you fast as a given of the spiritual life? Now, I don't know about you guys, but if God is telling me when you do this as a given, I'm going to listen pretty carefully. I may not do it very well, I may not be very good at fasting, but at the very least, I give myself to Him. And the final thing to say about it is that we have to think about fasting sometimes in a different way than we're currently thinking about it. Fasting isn't just a change in diet. You know, I substitute my meat for my protein sources of, mushrooms and all kinds of other things and seafood. No. Fasting is in the medical sense of the word, which means not to eat, to abstain. And that means that if I'm not experiencing the benefits of fasting, maybe it's because I'm doing one of two things. Maybe I'm not matching my fasting with my prayer, and number two, maybe I'm not abstaining. Maybe I'm not getting to that point where I'm actually making my body weak, where I'm actually making myself hunger, where I'm actually making myself not satisfy my desires so that I can satisfy the desires of God and open myself up to His grace. So, in short, to the answer, to the question, is fasting compulsory? I would say no, it definitely is not compulsory, but at the same time, it's a necessity for spiritual growth. So you can take from that what you want, and always remember when you fast. And another thing, you guys are in Townsville, right? So I heard that you guys eat crocodiles over there and eat emus and all kinds of crazy stuff over there. When we say you're not allowed to eat chicken or poultry or meat, that includes crocodiles, and that also includes emus and any other thing that you guys can kill up there. Alright, so just remember, fasting means no crocodiles, no emus, even though I know you're very tempted to eat these things in Townsville, up with the very interesting peoples you have up there. God bless, have a beautiful night.
Blazing out, the streets will glow forever bright. Your glory's breaking through the night. You will never fade away. Your love is here to stay by my side. And my light will shine it through.
Is fasting compulsory? To the camera. Yes. Here we go. Is fasting compulsory?
Get low angle, get my games.
You're tiny, man.
No, big.